My dad was addicted to meth. It didn't really bother me, I didn't really know. But once I got old enough to know, um, looking back, it kind of was like mind blowing.
Wow.
I was 15 whenever I first tried it. I was introduced to it. I'm not gonna say it's my dad's fault, but he didn't stop it mentally. Yeah, just because of the abuse and the violence, it's hard to like overcome it.
What's up, YouTube? Top Flight USA back with another one. How you doing, young lady?
I'm good.
Great. What's your name, age, and where you from?
I'm Kimber. I'm 22 and I'm from Thomasville.
You from Thomasville, North Carolina?
Yeah,
Okay. Shout out to Thomasville. Are you homeless?
yeah.
How long you been homeless?
For about 2 years now.
Okay. So 2 years ago, what do you think caused you to be homeless?
Um, well, I was living with my grandpa, taking care of him and everything, and when my dad moved in and some other family members, and it stressed him out. And then when he got sick, he just wanted to go back to where he was from, Virginia, and he moved back up there. And he left the house to me, kind of. He kind of paid up the bills as much as he could, and I couldn't pay it whenever it was due, and I had went to jail. I got out of jail, and the house was condemned.
So how long you do in jail?
Well, at that point, I did just a couple months, probably like 2 or 3, but I did like several times in jail since
Wow.
then. But that's just
Okay. Do you have any siblings?
no.
You're the only child?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about your upbringing a little bit. Would you say you had a fairly normal childhood?
Um, no. I dealt with a lot of violence and a lot of uh, and I had to watch a lot of abuse between my parents, and it was yeah. I had good memories with my grandparents, but then a lot of bad memories with my parents. My mom tried to pull everything together as much as she could, but it she did what she could, and she always has. It's just it was a lot of chaos.
What bad memory did you see with your parents? Like, can you name like one bad memory you had?
um,
If you're
well,
okay talking about it.
every every birthday and every holiday, um, they would always be fighting, and I mean like fighting, like fist fighting, like two grown men would fight, and it got to the point where my mom stopped fighting back, and she just kind of just wanted to die, and
Wow.
she would just let him do what he was doing, and he almost killed her.
Wow. Sorry to hear about that. Were your parents addicted to any drugs?
My dad was addicted to meth, and I don't think my mom was on anything really. Never seen her do it. My dad was always slipping when it came to that.
So how did it feel growing up that your dad was addicted to meth?
Well, I was real young, so I didn't really, it didn't really bother me. I didn't really know. But once I got old enough to know, um, looking back, it kind of was like mind blowing that like a child, like someone could let a child be around that.
Wow.
I was 15 whenever I first tried it. I was introduced to it, and my I'm not gonna say it's my dad's fault, but he didn't stop it, and neither did my mother. Whenever they found out that I was on meth, but the rest of my family kind of just pushed me away.
Wow. Sorry about that. What was your highest grade level?
I graduated.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's good. I'm going to ask you a tough question here. If you can answer it, answer it. If you can't, it's okay. Did anything ever happen to you sexually? Okay. What about physically or mentally?
Mentally, yeah. Just because of the abuse and the violence, it's hard to like overcome it. I mean, I'm not crazy. It's just it's a lot of mental. It does a lot of mental damage.
Right.
Like a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to deal with, especially as a child. Have you ever talked to anybody about these situations you're going through? Have you ever had counseling?
Um, when I was younger, my mom tried to get me a therapist, but like I said, it was a lot of chaos. So, um, you know, drugs lead people to thinking things. So my dad was thinking that my mom was going out to see someone when she dropped me off to the therapist. So I had to stop
Wow.
seeing the therapist so she wouldn't be in that situation.
Wow. Would you say living homeless is dangerous?
Definitely.
What is the craziest thing you've seen out here?
Um, one of my friends, he was shot. He was killed. We were all at the campsite. We all stayed together for the most. Me, my mom, and a couple friends. Uh, some guy walked up and he was dressed in all black and he had his face covered. He had a gun hanging out of his pants, and he was asking for a certain somebody. Well, everybody said we didn't know where he was at, and then someone happens to walk into the camp, and that guy asked them, and he said, "Oh, that person's down at such and such," and then like seconds after that, the guy walks that direction, and then you hear the shots go off, and then I ended up being the one to run down there and find him, the one that was shot, and he was shot in the neck and in the side.
Wow.
He ended up dying in the hospital 2 days later.
Did they ever catch the person who did that?
I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Wow. So you could be out here walking right past the person who did that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even know because his face was covered. Everything was covered except for here. And the only thing showing was the gun hanging out of his pants.
Wow. That's crazy. So how do you make your money living out here homeless?
I hold a sign, and I also like do things of my own, like make body scrubs,
Okay.
and I make candles and stuff like that. Like I make organic body scrubs that are they're all natural and they come in little actual sealed containers, and I
Okay.
sell those.
That's a good little hustle. Are you still doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, why do you think so many people are out here homeless right now?
Um, my honest answer would be because of drugs, and I'm not saying that because I'm judging anyone. It's just 90% of the homeless people I know are on drugs, and drugs blind people from reality because that's what they want to do. They don't want to see reality.
Right.
So I think it's drugs or alcohol, or sometimes it's just financial, but mainly drugs.
Okay. For the people that's watching this that might think, okay, well, she's young, why she can't find a job? Could you answer that question? Why can't you just find a job and work?
Well, ever since I got out of prison recently, I just got out of prison um, in June. I've been at first I wasn't looking for a job. I wasn't trying at all before I went to prison. But when I went and I got out, I was dead set on trying to do right, stay clean, get a job. I've tried getting a job in every one of these fast food restaurants out here in a walking distance. I don't have a vehicle. I don't always have bus fare. Um, I've tried, and not a single one has called me back or responded to me. And I've put in applications multiple times at these places, not just gave up after one.
Yeah,
So it's hard.
yeah, it is. It's very hard. I talked to several people about jobs and stuff out here, and they all say the same thing. They say it's hard finding a job in Greensboro for some reason. Um, would you say it's your addictions that's holding you back?
Yeah, for the most part, and also the it just depends on holding me back from what,
Like,
like
what about just working? Let's start there.
working. I don't think it's my addiction. I think it's more or less my the fact that I just I don't know I don't know where to start when it comes to a job. I've only ever had one job before, and I don't really know how to win the you know win the job, or really nail it to where I get the job. So
Yes.
I don't know how to do that part, but I'm trying to do that part. Me
Right.
being addicted, I don't choose drugs over going out and cause you need money to get the drugs. You need money to live. So what's
Right.
the point of choosing drugs over money? you know,
Okay. Um. Let's see.
I'd much rather have a job and do better than to be on drugs. I'd probably be off drugs if I had something to fill my time.
Okay. So, do you think you will be able to get sober, like if you had some type of help doing it?
If I had something that I felt like I could rely on, not necessarily like a person or not something like that, but I want to be able to rely on myself to know I've got me and to know that I've got me. I don't have to depend on this person to do this for me and that. I feel like if I do end up getting a job, I won't want to risk it by doing drugs.
That's good. If you could tell the government something about homelessness, what would you say?
I think that they really need to do more to help because, I mean, the police are kicking us out of all these campsites, and I mean, I could understand the police coming in and having to do their job and making us leave if the owners of the property was not wanting us there. But this is some places isn't. It's not city owned. It's just property, that's just there. Some of the property owners hadn't even came out there. The police are just coming out there telling us that we have to leave. They don't even have any contact with the owners, so they can't arrest us. They're just threatening to arrest us. That's like really, they're not doing their job right. I think they
Wow.
need to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah. They're pretty much kicking you out of the woods.
The woods, like, how can you evict somebody from the woods?
Wow.
They had eviction papers up at the site that I was last at. Eviction notices. Like, you have such and such many days to get this stuff, like, on a tree.
Wow. Yeah, that's kind of hard to deal with. If your family happens to come across this video, what do you think their thoughts would be?
I don't think they'll be mad, but I mean, I don't. I think they probably learned something because they don't ever really open up. They probably learned a little something.
Do you think they will try to come out here and get you?
No.
Wow. Okay. So what are we gonna do to try to get ourselves out of this homeless situation?
I'm gonna keep trying. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep trying to do the jobs and keep applying everywhere. And I'm just gonna keep my head level as possible. I mean, I know it's not completely level. I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna try to just keep maintaining enough to where I can, focus on what I need to focus
Okay. If there are any kids watching this video, what would you tell them about homelessness or addictions?
on. Never take anything for granted, and if if your parents are yelling at you and you don't understand why, or not that you don't understand why, if you just don't agree with it, don't get mad and just throw it all away. don't leave home just because your parents don't want you doing a certain thing that you want to do. Don't, because once you leave home, you have the chance to end up like me. You won't have a home, you know, and just don't take anything for granted because anybody can end up like this. Anybody can end up with absolutely nothing. Because I had a lot, and now I have nothing. And I'm not gonna say I didn't take it for granted. I'd like to think I didn't, but somewhere along the lines I did, and because I regret it. I regret not doing what I should have done. So just don't try to do what you need to do, and don't do drugs. You know.
That's very good advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this interview. I'm gonna give you my number so we can stay in touch. Maybe we can do an update video or something. And I got something for you. All right, I'm sorry about that. I forgot to put your cash app in the video. Can you say your cash app, please?
FML 776.
Oh,
Money sign FML 776.
okay. Do you got a Gmail? Maybe somebody want to contact you and help you out.
Yeah, and you can contact me about the body scrubs too if you were interested. My Gmail is kimber883 at gmail.com. It's KENBERROSE 883 at gmail.com.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you remember that body scrub thing because that's actually a good hustle, and I'm glad you're doing that. You should start back doing that, and maybe we can broadcast that on the next video. Thank you.